invited, oh, thank you so much. When they invited us to come and speak, they asked to talk about the changes in CPR. As you probably have heard over the last couple of years that CPR has changed. About every 5 years that change does occur, and it's based upon the latest science. This last change came about because in a little town in Indiana, they noticed that the survival rates of people who fell with heart attacks had gone up. So ICOR, which is, I never can remember what those initials stand for, but they're the experts, medical community from around the world. They looked at that tiny community and said, what's going on? What are they doing? And can we duplicate that elsewhere? One of the things that they discovered was that EMS was talking lay responders like you and I through CPR by just doing compressions only. And they said, okay, what's new about that? What's happening there? Can we duplicate it? And they were able to duplicate those same survival rates around the world. So let me explain what they discovered. They discovered that because they were starting right at compressions, as soon as they knew that there was not a heart rate and they weren't breathing, started compressions, they were circulating the oxygen in the body quicker. Because our bodies act like a billow. Push down the chest, you push blood out of the heart, you push air out of the lungs. When you lift up, air draws back into the lungs, blood comes back into the heart, and you're circulating the oxygen in your body. So they thought, okay, this is duplicable. We are able to save more lives by eliminating 2 breaths. They didn't eliminate all the rest totally. The sequence goes like this. You're checking the scene, and then you're going to check that person by tap and shout. If they don't respond and you don't see that chest rising and falling, you start right at chest compressions. And you do 30 compressions, 2 breaths, 30 compressions, 2 breaths, and you do that until EMS arrives. And that really has been increasing the survival rate.
And it used to be what, 15 and 2?
Used to be 15 and 2.
So it's double.
Right. Because they increased the number of compressions because they wanted to keep that blood circulating. They didn't want people stopping every 15 compressions. So that's the reason why they changed that. So that's why, and you probably all have heard on the news, the compressions only. So say you stop for a car accident and you want to help that person, but this facial damage, this bleeding, and you're not comfortable doing breath because there's blood on the face. Do compressions only because it works. Do something. Anybody who may have taken CPR back in the 60s and 70s, my very first class was, I think, 77. Yeah, a number of people here. Remember how it used to be? They had a stopwatch and they timed you and it had to be precise, and if it wasn't precise you failed and all this other stuff, because that was the latest science back then. Over the years they've progressed. Now do something. Do something. I encourage people to get trained, because many times what happens in that life-threatening emergency, the first thing that happens is brain freeze. The second thing that happens for people who've been trained is you remember those 3-word phrases that Red Cross uses. Tap and shout. Signs of life. Look, listen, feel. Then you kick into action and you're able to save a life. So encourage everybody to get trained. I love getting trained. I told Kato, help me watch my time because I could talk forever. So, the second thing that people wanted us to come and share was our Ready Rating program. This is an awesome program. It's been out for a little over a year, and I was truly excited. The Ready Rating program is a program, and it's free, to help business prepare for emergencies. It's a business continuity plan. I'm going to try to stand Can I stand over here?
Absolutely.
I want to see the laptop but not stand in your way. Okay, go ahead. 40% of businesses fail following a natural or man-made disaster. The reason they do that is because they fail to plan. When that emergency happens, they don't know what their resources are or where to find them, so they go out of business. 94% of small business owners believe that a disaster is going to happen within the next 2 years. And disasters come in many forms. In this area, remember the big ice storm 4 or 5 years ago? The whole East Coast was without power, millions of people. If you rely on electricity to run your business, I bet you were shut down for a few days. That affects the bottom line. There are other man-made disasters that can happen. I keep hearing on the news where Independence is going to have construction. And that construction is going to last several years. If you're on a business on Independence, your customers are probably, unless they're really dedicated and you're the only one there, they're probably going to try to find an easier way to get their business done. Do you have a plan? Do you have a plan in place to keep your customers? So an insurance coverage isn't going to save the day when that emergency happens, because you still have to bring in revenue. Close to 60% of Americans are totally unprepared for a disaster of any kind. And 1/3 of businesses surveyed said that they do not have a plan. Those plans are very important. The good news is 82% of businesses said, if you make it easy for us, we'll make a plan. I personally experienced these continuity plans several years ago before I joined the Red Cross. The company I was working for said, let's make a plan, let's get ready. They found the easiest plan they could. The assessment was like that thick, and it took us 3 weeks to complete just the assessment. Then for the next year and a half, we worked on developing the plan. When we finished the plan, we all celebrated, woohoo! And we put the plan on the shelf, and there's that. Dusted it off every once in a while, took a picture, that's it. It wasn't a living, breathing plan. The good news is, with Red Cross, they've made it easy. The program is designed for any type of business. Retail, insurance, lawyers' offices, manufacturing, schools, nonprofits, any kind of business you have, this plan will work for. The assessment tool is uniquely designed, so it's going to get your plan for your business. It's online, available 24/7, and it's self-paced. What I love about it, 132 questions. That's all it is. It takes about an hour, hour and a half, depending on how much you study and think, how do I want to answer that question? Real simple. Doesn't take 3 weeks, hour and a half to complete the assessment. All you have to do is go to readyrating.com on the brochures. It's on the table. It has that email website address in case you forget. And then it highlights, some of the highlights is our memberships are rapidly growing. Once businesses look at this plan, they just log on, click around, see what's there, they're loving it. They say, this is useful information. And it's rapidly growing, the usages. 93% of the Ready Rating members rated good to excellent. And that's pretty good, because I've seen some continuity plans out there, and Lord help me, I just couldn't do it. So members are taking action. They're completing the assessment, and then they're taking action, and they're improving their readiness by at least 42%. These are the type of businesses that are using our Ready Rating program. I kind of listed those a little earlier, nonprofits, so forth. Our current members, Anheuser-Busch, they're actually a national sponsor of this program, as well as Sam's Club. Because of their sponsorship, they have enabled the Red Cross to offer this program at no cost. So we're very thankful for that because we want people to be ready. The assessment is easy. 5 simple steps. First step, commit to preparation. Log on, look at the tool. We ask for a membership, and the membership is simply putting in your company information and committing to taking action. They look at the hazardous vulnerability assessment. We ask those 132 questions, find out where you're doing really well, where you can improve. Then as a member, you have access to some tools that people who don't become a member have, like, oh geez, we have an older population employed by us. You know, that sandwich generation? Got little kids at home, but you still need to take care of mom and dad. What do? Then some of the resources. The American Red Cross has partnered with Philips Medical. We have 2 products for that. We have the Philips Lifeline. You know that help I can't get up. The awesome part of that tool is that they have the button. So if somebody falls and doesn't press the button, it senses that they fell and calls. That happened to my uncle about 2 weeks ago. My uncle lives in Maine with my sister. My sister had to go down to the grocery store. Uncle was pretty sharp. You know, he's probably in better shape than my sister is, but he loses his balance. He fell. He forgot that he was wearing the button. He was still conscious, but he forgot that he was. The machine called my sister's cell phone, so she came back home, picked him up off the ground. So it helped him. You know, it helps a member of my personal family, so I love that. Other thing that helps is the medication dispenser. As a medication, somebody fills it up once a week, and then when it's time to take your medicine, the machine will blink a little light and it'll verbally say it's time to take your medicine. If they take it, it senses it does it. If it didn't, it reminds them again. Still didn't take it, it calls a relative. The relative calls the loved one and says, take your medicine.
Big brother.
And then if they still don't take it, then they come home and make sure they take it. It even works if the medication has to be refrigerated. Because the biggest thing for people who don't take the medication, that medicine is designed to keep them healthy. If they don't take it, then their health deteriorates and they end up in the hospital. And then guess where your employee is spending their time? In the hospital with mom and dad, making sure that their health care is being taken care of. So you lose that productivity time. So look at the hazardous vulnerability asset. Third step is the emergency response plan. It helps you develop that plan. I love telling this story. There's 2 companies that the Red Cross has been working with for, at least decades in Gaston County. Last year they called me up and said, Ann, we are so thankful that we do Red Cross training because we've saved an employee's life. At one of the plants, there was a young man, 23 years old, healthy. I mean, he looks like he works out. He was, 2 little kids. He wasn't feeling well. He went to one of the first responders and said, it just doesn't feel right today. That first responder took him to the nurse's office, took his blood pressure. His blood pressure was 210 over 144. The first responder said, this cuff's got to be broken. So he took the cuff, put it on the other arm. Same result. It was sky high. But yet this young man was sitting here like you guys are, no other sign. No sweating, no jaw pain, no chest pain, nothing. He was just feeling weird that day. So the supervisor said, get back there. You're just trying to get out of work. So, but the first responder said something's wrong. He called the plant safety officer who came from another plant, pulled the guy off the shift, off the floor, took his blood pressure again. It was still extraordinary high. She called 911. They came, they started an IV, got his blood pressure down to where it should be, got him to the hospital, found out that he had a chemical imbalance that was creating the high, extremely high blood pressure. Saved this young man's life. He was back to work in 3 days. To me, that was inspiring. I love the fact that that plant does the training, because that saved that life. So, I'm sorry. I love what I do. Okay, so, all right, implement your plan. That's what that company did. They implemented their plan. They got their folks trained, and they're saving lives. And it's real simple to do. Then the other thing is helping others. When you make a commitment to have a safety plan for your company, you're helping your community. If you provide training for your employees, no matter where they go, they take that training with them. When we came in, Tony told us a story, how he was having dinner in a restaurant with his mother. Tony loves telling jokes. And he told a joke, and his mother laughed so much she started choking on her food. And Tony started panicking, because his mother was choking and he didn't know what to do. Fortunately, another diner in that restaurant knew what to do, came, did the abdominal thrust, object came out, and they continued enjoying dinner. And Tony gets to enjoy many more years with his mother. Wherever that man got his training, he's made his community safer. And I'm sure Tony's very thankful that this guy got trained. So encourage people. Make your community safer. We also have the rating scoreboard. So you take your assessment, and it scores your answers. There's 5 sections. And it'll tell you what you're doing really, really well, and then where you need improvement. And so you can start focusing on it, and it's color-coded, so you can take action. It's customized based upon your needs and based on your answers. And then it helps you implement that plan. I think I said earlier that it gives you tools in there, so you can say, well, I don't know what resources are out there that can help me with this part. It gives you some suggestions of where to go and how to find those resources. It's customized to school and organizations no matter what you are. And then when you complete that, you can get a nice sticker to display at your place of business that tells your customers, I care about you. Because if I'm ready in an emergency and there's a tornado that wiped out the whole neighborhood, but my business is okay, we're up and running, and you need my supplies, you need my service, I'm here for you. I'm keeping my community safe by keeping my business open. You care about your employees because they're still drawing salary. They're still able to pay their bills. And then you're helping the whole country because, hey, we need the economy right? So those are some really nice things. What's in the future? This is constantly being updated. What new tools, what other help can we give our businesses to help them to be prepared? Companies are always having new resources on ways to improve. And it's really easy and it's friendly to use. These are our sponsors again, Anheuser-Busch and Sam's Club. So we're very thankful to them for enabling us to make this program free. One of the things I do want to mention, because I love this story too. Remember the pandemic flu? A couple years ago, they were trying to say it's going to be really bad, there'll be hundreds and thousands of deaths and so forth and so on. Well, and afterwards it wasn't so bad, and people were saying they overreacted. They didn't overreact. The reason it wasn't as bad as it could have been was because of the education to the American public. Red Cross has a program, Bloodborne Pathogens. It talks about how diseases are spread and how to keep diseases from spreading. We got into every place that we could and shared with them people how to stay healthy during flu season. The health departments geared up, did a lot of public announcements. The CDC, the World Health Organizations, we all partnered to make our community safer. There was less death due to pandemic flu than there is in normal flu season. That's what preparedness can do for you, your company, and our community. It can keep us healthier and it can keep us safer. So I'm thinking, I'm going to turn it over to Rob, and he's going to wrap it up and anything that I might have forgotten.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Ann does such a great job. And thank you guys for having us. I kind of want to open it up to questions, but I want to let you know of a couple of things. A lot of times when I talk to, because I facilitate all the CPR for state certifications, but we also facilitate the sale of automated external defibrillators to companies and stuff. A lot of people don't know that. We work with 3 different distributors, and they donate some money back to the American Red Cross for every one that we sell. So if you're ever in need of something like that, but just a lot of those type of things. There's also talking about your mother choking and not knowing what to do. Just this Monday, there's a free app for those of you who have your smartphones. It's called First Aid application. It's free. You just go to your app. Many apps out there, but you pick the one out that's First Aid, and it will give you refreshers on what maybe you have done in the past as far as CPR training, but it also allows you the opportunity to click a button in the middle of an emergency. Oh my God, what I do, this is a choking victim, and if you don't know, it gives you a video of what to do, and then step by step what to do. Number one, call 911, so that's a great tool that everybody should have on their smartphone. But I really want to know we're ending, so I just want to kind of open it up to any questions that you may have for myself or for Ann, and please, I've left my business card on the table if you need anything from the American Red Cross. We're one Red Cross, so it's no matter if it's blood or whatever, we'll get you taken care of.
Does anybody have any questions? Yes.
All right.
Being a visiting Rotarian, I was a little hesitant, but I'm from Caldwell County, and I was a member of the health department, and you mentioned the 2009 pandemic, epidemic with H1N1. I did not know that the Red Cross has this readiness program, and I think it's a great thing that every health department needs to know about. So we may want to get you to come out and talk to our health department and things like that too. But,
We'd love to.
and I want to reinforce what you said about the flu. It can be very deadly. Probably not too many people here remember the 1918 flu epidemic, but it impacted the Army quite readily, and so it's something we need to be ready for. It will impact us tremendously if we ever have a novel virus that gets loose, that's a flu strain.
And on top of that, the flu virus mutates, and whatever, 5 or 6 years, it mutates to an unknown strain, and then they don't have a vaccine for it, so then more people kind of get sick. You remember the times when the hospitals are filled with people with the flu because the flu vaccine is mutated? That's where training comes in. How does those diseases spread, and how can we remain safe? Cough into your elbow and do a blank. Cough into y'all wash your hands, that's it. I lived that. Why can't I remember that? But yeah, cough into your elbow and wash your hands. Number one thing to keep you safe. I have an AED story. I forgot all about that. I'm going to say something. Another company in Gaston County. It was a Monday. A lady came in, wasn't feeling well, looked a little peaked, and the first responders kind of said, "Are you okay?" "No, she said, "I just have the flu. I just don't feel well, but I couldn't stay home because I gotta work." And they kept an eye on her. She started deteriorating, more grayish around the gills, and So when they came back from the coffee break, she just really wasn't well. She was starting to panic. So these first responders took her into the HR office. And by the time they got her into there, she was in a full-blown heart attack. They put the AED pads on her. She hadn't gone unconscious yet, but they put the pads on her because that AED was reading what the heart was doing as soon as they put it on. They started talking to her, trying to calm her down. HR director called in 911. They came, started an IV, and transported her to the hospital. Those two first responders saved her life because they recognized it, and that AED was there. If she had gone unconscious, it was hooked up and was ready to deliver a shock if she needed it. It was weird. A lot of chemical imbalances that last year. It was like the third one I'd heard last year. And usually I hear about one a year. And she was in the hospital for 3 days, and then she was back to work after a week.
One more question.
One more question, and then I got to wrap it up.
Not a question, a testimonial for the Red Cross. I discovered I had atrial fibrillation because I went to give blood, and the nurse said, "Mr. Cody, you know your heart is racing." And I said, "No, but I feel fine." But she said, "You need to go see your doctor right away." And sure enough, when I went to the doctor, he said, you have atrial fibrillation. If I hadn't gone to the doctor, I might have had a heart attack or a stroke because that could kill you.
That's right, and we're so glad that you're here today. Thank you for giving blood. I appreciate that. Yeah, that's another. We love your blood. So, okay, I want to turn it back over to Kay.
Great.
Thank you for inviting me.